Okay, I'm assuming we're live. So how's it going, guys? There we go. Okay, so I had to get chat up there for a second there. It's on chat's up there for you, it's not up there for me. This is Sunday Slockars. Amanda has left me to go upstairs to be sick. As a matter of fact, the whole family. So my oldest daughter was sick, like really bad. Like everybody else is sick really bad in this house. They are just full of vomit and diarrhea. It's not appealing. And so I was pretty much just cleaning up the floors and cuddling the kids all weekend, like seriously from Friday till whenever. So I did not have time to make any Slot Car video today. So we're doing a pretty much an Ask Me Anything. You can ask me Slot Car stuff. You can ask me Slot Car unrelated topics. Ask me any question you really want. I don't really care. So hey to everybody in chat. I see you guys there. Thanks for coming early. And so I will have other things to talk about if there's no questions. Don't kid yourself. I have a lot of topics. Amanda, can you please turn that down? I can hear it too much. She's watching me upstairs right now. Yeah, we do have, like there's just a ton of stuff to talk about. To be honest with you, I have like scripts, and I don't have enough time to shoot them all. Like I still have to catch up to everything. Um, so there's definitely gonna be a spicy video released this week about kind of the direction I found a lot of YouTube channels for Slockers have been going. Like we need to, we're overcomplicating the hobby for new people, and I just want to address that. But again, that's going to be a later video this week. But there's definitely been some a lot of cool things in Slockers too. Like I do appreciate all the Slocker YouTubers; it's all great. Most, and I think other people have touched on this already, which I meant to beat them at. I was so upset. I saw another person kind of touch on this, and I was like, oh my gosh! Like I was gonna make a serious video. Hey, Sue Fast Speedway. Glad I could read that right. Do you guys like the chat? The chat. Oh, do you guys like the chat? The chat's so much bigger because I don't have Amanda's fat head in here. Tire talk tire. Oh my gosh, Kay. The only tires you should be using are anything that's not silicone. Really. There you go. There's a hot take. The thing about silicone is that you're locked in, and then you're locking everybody else into using silicone. So really, you should be using like polyethylene if you want to go fast. I don't even. Is it that big of a? Okay, I think silicones are actually quite. I mean, silicones are faster. It's hard to say in this hobby because we're really basing speed on a fraction of a second. Like that's one of the reasons why I think if you're asking somebody me what's like a hobby grade or what's a toy grade, it's like dude, like the Carrera slot car that everybody thinks is so slow is literally like a 4 second lap time. You know, like that's pretty fast to an average person. Now, when you're talking about like another slot car brand's a second and a half faster than Carrera, uh, to a slot car person, like, oh yeah, the Carrera is super slow. But like to an average person, like you need to understand you're spending like double the cost to get a non-Carrera car just to get that extra second of performance. Like that's not huge. Oh, yeah, the whole how to find a tire. There's no good solution. So if you want to hack for that, I do have a solution. You send Paul Gage a message over eBay, and you ask him for the tire you need for the car, and he'll generally be able to tell you because I don't even. You know, I used to do the tire measurements myself. Like I can do it. It's just I find not being a man and just asking the guy what do I need is generally much better and faster. It's just way better. Yeah, the other thing is about it is like I said, like you know, if you're running silicone, like do you really not want like when I get a slot car, I don't always have the replacement aftermarket tire ready to go. I want to run it stock, and like it's not really viable if you have your track full of silicone. You know what I mean? Like it makes so silicone makes other tire types run worse. That's what I mean by you have to run silicone. Like you're stuck into silicone. Whereas if I'm running Paul Gage tires with that are polyurethane, I can wipe my track afterwards, and then I don't have a problem. Like you're not gonna have a problem. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm a rubber guy, and I don't allow silicone on my track either. That means the Sunday Slot Cars track. I have been considering getting the axle box. So really the four lane digital axle box. So I had said before the Om Omnibox. I believe that's right. It's been a long weekend. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's different tire brands. So when I said Paul Gage, like I literally meant message the company that makes the tires, the aftermarket tires, on what car you need, and they will tell you what to buy. A lot of the guys who make the tires based on slot cars they already own. So think about it that way. Like if he's making a slot car tire, if they are making a slot car tire, they generally have the slot car, right? So they generally have a big collection of slot cars they need to make aftermarket tires for. I do know that the newer Carrera molds chassis. Okay, there are some companies that make aftermarket tires for these now. Before they weren't. Now I know that there are some now. But the new Carrera tires also don't melt. They shouldn't melt. I shouldn't say they don't melt. They shouldn't melt. So they should last a lot longer. And it's a really complicated thing. And I might as well just explain it. I'm chewing up some time now anyways. So let's say Carrera releases their new Lamborghini Huracan. That is going to have, even if it's released now in the year of 2024 or 2020, whatever I should say, it will still have the old tire compound. Now and I believe the GTY has a new tire compound. So because the GTY was a newer release chassis, like it wasn't like a recolor of an old year, like it's its own new thing. It should have tires that will not melt, or at least resistant to melting. So because Carrera uses like a newer tire compound. So I'm not sure how that stacks up to Paul Gage and aftermarket tires. I'm not expecting them to be like super good or anything, but I remember Johnny Hobby had released a video proving that Carrera tires, stock tires, are really not like that much worse in performance to Paul Gage. Now, obviously, silicone silicone will probably make a bigger difference, but again, you're locking yourself in. How's it going, Patriot? No gooey tires. That's right. I'd hate to have to clean up that. I mean, we have the track cleaning truck, but even with the track cleaning truck, I don't think the track cleaning truck's going to solve the silicone problem, right? Like, but hey, if you have rubber tires like I am, track cleaning truck is fantastic. I need to really get that. That is such a problem I'm having. Is I have a bunch of slot cars for review, like to do reviews on, and I just haven't had the time. And the track cleaning truck is honestly really good at cleaning the track. Yeah, how long does it usually take to get them gooey? I have no idea. So Amanda and I do have one slot car with silicone tires on it that I do need to replace. But I will still use the silicone tires on one of our spare slot cars for when I go to somebody else's track. We have a Formula One we got off MP slot car from Whatnot, which is another thing that has just been on my back burner. Like when I say like we have a lot of stuff that we haven't shot yet, we have a lot of stuff we haven't shot yet. I don't know. I don't understand how people are running out of topics. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am overwhelmed. Now we have a new laptop. Now I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the quality. So the past couple weeks we've been slower on releasing videos, and that was because our current the old machine we had, which was perfectly fine at the time, was not able to keep up with the camera I'm using now. This is the Osmo 3. Amanda and I got a new laptop, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it can. It has to be in turbo mode to keep up with it, but it can do it. And if you're going to wonder why am I even editing on laptops, it's because I need to bring them to the market. So when I go to the flea market, I like to edit the videos there. I also have children, so sometimes it's just easy for me just to put them in front of the TV for like an hour. I go in the other room, do what I need to do. I need the flexibility. All right. So I'm not trying to turn this into a tune-up stream, especially because I don't know if you've seen the GRL results, the Global Racing League results. When Amanda and I were in it, we weren't doing so good. So Amanda and I actually raced pretty casual. To be honest with you, what I enjoy, you guys might enjoy doing the tune-ups. What I actually enjoy is when I find a chassis I like to buy like multiples of it in different colors. That way it's when I have people over to race. Okay, I do have some people, especially when springtime happens, I might start recording some of those races where everybody brings their own car. But I do have a lot of people that I know, and I'm sure this is the case for every slot car racer, where they have a lot of people that don't race slot cars, And I like to just have the same chassis. Nobody can complain that the racing's uneven. To me, I just like to treat slot cars kind of like an air hockey table or like a pinball machine or just something that everybody can play and have fun on. That's how I do my slot car racing. Oh, that was gonna bring me into a topic. I don't remember now. So yeah, I hope you all had a good Easter. Literally, besides the title of this video, I could not think of an April Fool's Day joke. Like, seriously, I was just doing it with my kids. My kids, they don't really ask to play with the slot cars unless they're at the slot car track. And I can't tell if it's like they just don't have the interest or it's just like they just don't want to race on anything that's not the big course. Oh, right. I should talk more about the axle box. I was kind of on that. So the reason I want to do the 4-lane axle box is because we have Scalextric in stock now. Oh, boy. I'm going to knock off this collector's car. So we have the Lotus here. And I stand by, I don't know. It says Esprit. This is not my personal style of car. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a little boring. I didn't want to admit that, but I'm like, we're being brutally honest. It's an AMA. I might as well just be honest. But we have Scalextric cars. That's my point. Now we have stuff like Kit and everything from Knight Rider. Hoping to get the Batmobiles in later on. So I was like, if I'm selling Scalextric, I already had a lot of people, believe it or not, with Carrera Go, and there was a lot of former slot car racers in Sarnia because there was this magical time. Because I know some Americans that are watching this don't live by the border. Now, I'm pretty sure like any Canadian who was alive before 9/11 would know this as well. But you used to be able to just cross the border if you were Canadian to America with just your driver's license. So there was a slot car track in Michigan, so the Canadians would go over to that. There was also some slot car tracks in Sarnia, but from what I understand, they didn't last too long. But mainly, most people went across the states to go racing. I was not alive at this time. Yes, I do ship to the U.S., show me. We do ship to the U.S. And the U.S. shipping is about on par with Canadian shipping. I want to... Let me touch on this too, okay? I hear a lot of Americans complain about the high shipping rate. You are literally $5 Canadian difference from the Canadian one. Like, you are just a smidge higher than Canadian shipping. Shipping in Canada is expensive, period. It's so expensive. Like, you guys have no idea. Like, shipping something like let me get a Carrera car real quick. And I don't usually grab things on stream, but I have them right there. To ship this costs around $25 by itself. Like I'd say like we'll say 60% of the time, this could be by itself really expensive. It's just how it is in this country. But definitely check us out, Americans, because, well, your dollar is a lot higher than ours, and we do have slot cars out of print. As a matter of fact, let me see. What did I... Oh, okay. There's one. So this is the Aston Martin V8. So this is another James Bond car. Now, I ordered 3 of everything, and I believe I only had 2 of this guy come in. This might have been one of the cars, Scalextric cars we got that came in was a one of. Yeah, so I literally got like a bunch of the last ofs. Like, literally. Like, maybe their Scalextric's going to reprint. I'm not familiar with how this company does their printing stuff. However, if you don't want to risk it, you should probably get down to my website, sunday-slot-cards.square.site, which I can put in chat, because chat is up there. And get it before it's sold out. I'm dead serious. I love it when people rant. There's this, like, conspiracy theory where people are like, the slot car stores always overhype the supply issues to sell their stuff. And those people do not get the slot cars they want. It's hilarious, though, because I'm like, dude, like, no, we did not all get into the room with Mark Zuckerberg and be like, hey, guys, like, we need to like, show limited stock of our slot cars. No, we don't do that. We're in competition with each other, really. I don't even, I'm not even sure how much of slot cars other companies order. I actually had to start increasing the amount of everything I got at a time. It was just getting ridiculous. So I only got 3 of each of the Skeletric because I wasn't sure how well they're going to sell. So I just kind of testing the waters with that. And, yeah, okay. Another thing to bring up is another reason our channel was so slow on content was I wasn't sure if we had been approved from the new Canadian distributor. I've told longtime fans that we have a new Canadian distributor. And it wasn't like we weren't going to meet requirements or anything. It was just how long the process had actually been taking. I was expecting it to be a lot snappier. So I got depressed and I didn't make a video for a week. That slot car video game actually did not. It took a bit to make, but it would have been out way sooner. But I just screwed the pooch on that one. So I'm gonna get back into the saddle. Like I said, I actually want to shoot my slot car reviews differently. I want to start. So the problem I have with slot car reviews on YouTube. How long are the new 2024 releases going to take? I'll answer that in a second. I need a longer website name. I wish. You can copy and paste it from the chat though. Just click on the link I set. I posted in chat, and then with your phone you just highlight it and then hit copy, and then you can just paste it. I usually put it in the description, but I didn't this time. Yeah. So YouTube did not like that video I made. Don't get me wrong, that video was pretty gimmicky, so it's not like it deserved to be super high, but it actually messed up the YouTube analytic page for the video. It's so funny. Alright, so I have no idea how long the 2024 releases are going to take. I have not dealt, because this is the first year Career switched to the Canadian distributor. So before, this is what happened before, okay? I used to have to order from Career of America. I had to get it shipped, and this was getting shipped to an American parcel pickup. So a parcel pickup company. I had to get Amanda to file the B3 once Career sent me the invoice. So sometimes Career would be tardy with the invoice. I was like, hurry up. Because I had to do the customs paperwork. We have a transponder on our van, so I had to pay ahead of time. So America no longer lets commercial vehicles without a transponder through, so I had to buy a transponder to get across the border. Then we had to fill out a B3 form, had to go to the parcel pickup place, had to get the product and bring it back to Canada. And then I had to actually go through Canadian customs, the Canadian trucking customs area. So, funny story, when all those trucking protests were happening, those policies also affected us. So that's why I was so passionate about standing up for the Canadian truckers, even though it was, one, it was a political stance, which I've learned I shouldn't do, and two, it was controversial, but I was just like, man, they're not going to screw me over. No, I know Clearwater. I know you were kidding, Clearwater. I know. It's a long name. So, Sunday Slot Cars, the name was supposed to be a temporary name because I was like, okay, well, I just want people to know what day I'm open. And I literally have the question all the time of, what day are you open? And I thought it was pretty self-explanatory, but it wasn't. But now I just feel so trapped. Everybody knows Sunday Slot Cars, so I don't really feel like changing the name. I'm pretty sure we have to whatever it's called, refresh the business name with the government. We had to reapply for it. I'm not too sure how that all works. If Amanda were here, she would tell me, but like I said, she's left me. Now you guys will know when Amanda and I are actually breaking up when I leave her. That's what would happen. I'm just kidding, Amanda. I'm kidding. I know Amanda's watching this. I'm just giving her some trouble. I love Amanda, although she must love me because she's been sick too. So I've been the one cleaning up the whole floors. So it's been a pain. Yeah, so for future plans. Oh, I want to talk about the slot car review. That's right. So the problem I have with slot car reviews is they all have different tracks. So if you take a look at something like Massimo's track, Massimo actually has a pretty medium to medium high track. I think in terms of length, right? Whereas Raul, when he was doing his test track, it was a short course. Like really, it wasn't even like, okay, obviously we're all short courses, but it was like a short course, and so you weren't really able to gauge how good a slot car was because you can't. If I have a short course, the times on Massimo's track are irrelevant to me. And likewise, maybe if I have a NASCAR oval, again, it's not. Both of those courses would not apply. So what I plan on doing is buying a check lane, and when I'm gonna do slot car reviews, I'm gonna test it with like 4 lane. So it'd be like a four. So it'd be like the control unit, 3 normal straights, and then the check lane. So we'd be able to test the speed or acceleration, whichever you'd like, on a shorter straight. Then I would test it on something like I think I'd go for 8 straights to see its speed on a longer course, and then we would test this. We would put one right before a 1x60 and one right after a 1x60, like a full 1x60 180 curve, to see how it does on tight curves, because you could really gauge how it's going to do on turns based on how well it goes on that, and then you'll be able to do your you'll be able to test out how good the slocker is based on that for your own course. So if I have a short course, I know that I need to just look at the time with the 4 straights and the tight curves. And likewise, if I'm doing if I have a longer course like Massimo, I can go by the times for the 8 straights and then the turns. This is all preliminary. I'm not finalizing any of those plans, but that's my plan. Okay, so I've been crossing the U.S. border thousands of times since 1965. Honestly, I drive in Michigan, so I hate it. Like Michigan, literally, it's funny. I always made the joke because when you go into Michigan, it says like right underneath, it says like drive carefully, and I'm like, is that the state motto? Like Michigan's roads are horrendous. Probably one of the worst roads I've ever driven in. No, I'll tell you, in terms of like the worst place I've ever driven, hands down was Halifax. Sorry, Nova Scotia. Halifax, no contest. The reason it's Halifax is a bunch of one-way streets and no parking. And very few traffic lights too. So it's not like roundabouts. No, it's like there's a bunch of stop signs everywhere, like even on the main roads. And so it's just a mess. Like you can't park anywhere in that city, and there's not a subway or good public transportation, so it's worse. Halifax, that was the worst one. Oh yes, so we have Slot Valley Racings after this, and I am going to get off in a few minutes, but I think this is a pretty entertaining stream. We'll see how it does. I might start doing these little AMAs at the start of every Slot Car Idol. I find we're just losing way too much viewership at the start when we do the little 1 minute countdown. And I was like, well, I can go in and edit it out, but you know what? I'll still probably do that. So that's why I'll do like a little AMA, because if I say anything controversial, it's going to get edited out anyway. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a lot of people like the okay, everyone says Illinois is the worst. You know what, guys? I'll start a GoFundMe, and then you can like send me to Illinois, and I'll tell you how it compares. I don't know. This is tough for me. This is tough for me to like, cause yeah, I was really annoyed at Halifax, but honestly, like Michigan guys, you don't understand. They had like 2 sets of traffic lights because they had a little alleyway road, and it was the most confusing thing ever because it was all like completely unnecessary. It was like a 4-lane road, and then there was another 4-lane road. So it was like, an intersection of, it was like a 4-way intersection, right? But then they had just stupid little 2-lane road down here, which shouldn't have even been there in the first place. So they added like 2 eight-lane lights, and I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And this is just in Port Huron. This is not in deep Michigan. And I'm not going to rant about Michigan too much. Yeah, no, I can't run. I have some scratch builds I've also have to build. Somebody had donated those Mario Karts. And so what I did was I had taped the Mario Kart onto the Formula One Carrera chassis, and I shot those. But I do plan on scratch building some slot cars in the future. We'll say Amanda and I are gonna solder and scratch build some slot cars in the future. We just legitimately have not had time. Like there's just not enough time in the day. Oh yeah, no, we'll be going to the Slot Car Valley Racing. You don't have to pop over to Slot Valley Racing right now. Dan's always late. And Dan's not going to fight me on that. He'll admit that. Is there any other preview or juicy gossip I can give you guys? Oh, you know what? I want to talk about, in terms of slot car topics, there's one genre I hate. And it's really funny because I was trained in it. No, when I say hate it, I mean, I'll watch it, but like, I would hate to do it. And that is slot car news. And because doing any kind of slot car, so not the channel, I am not attacking Dave Kennedy. I'm just saying news in general. Doing that as a YouTube topic for your channel. The problem with news is it's only good for like 2 weeks. It's really only good for like a week. It's good for, first off, you have to fight the other news channels because whoever gets out the news first is the one that's going to get the most views. And then it's only relevant for a little bit because most slot car videos are evergreen. Like they'll last forever. Like my how to design a slot car track, that still gets views, or the cheapest way to expand your slot car track. Like, it's not like there's too much innovation in this hobby. So a video from 10 years ago is still good. But a slot car news video, like a news, it's so hard not to be make it seem, slot car news, press release, whatever you want to say. When a company announces something, it's only relevant for like 2 weeks. And then that video is dead. And that's why I don't do slot car news. That's why I don't talk about slot car news releases on my channel. Is just because it's just not profitable. You know what I mean? I actually find you guys seem to really like, so people like reviews. Even you guys like reviews. Like everybody likes reviews. Those videos will get thousands of views. But I also find that the hardcore slot car audience loves like the insider business info. Yeah, I am going to go soon, guys. So I've been doing, so the podcasts actually have a pretty good future on this channel. I'm still kind of like editing a podcast because I kind of have it on my old laptop, and like you can so the way the video editing works on this laptop, at least for video editor I use, is it will use the location. And my old laptop is Windows 10, my new one's Windows 11. So if I want to edit the podcast, the location names are different on Windows 10 versus 11, so I have to do it on the old laptop, which we shot with this camera, which takes the process forever. Let me know if you guys like the Q&A. Maybe I'll do it again in the future with Amanda. Maybe we'll retire Slot Car Idol. I don't know. We'll see how that series... The series is doing okay, but I'm impatient. So I'll talk to you guys later. See you over on Slot Valley Racing's channel, and yeah, bye-bye.